So we are fortunate that we, over the years when we fought and organized, we have fair number of affordable housing, subsidized housing. So that would be one sector of our community if they organize and their voice, because here they're longer term, particularly the elderly, they can be a huge power voice at the table because they're looking out for everybody. What is missing in this thing is that it's not so easy to get young people engaged. First of all, we don't have that many young people living in the community because everybody's been pushed out. But there are but when we do have like major issues, like pushing back on Tufts building the garage here, like they wanting high-rise development, private, for-profit developments. When those big issues, when we put out the call, then you have a lot of young people, a lot of other folks to come out to support. And that is important because it doesn't matter where people live, they see Chinatown as their home. They remember their grandparents, that they remember growing up here. But because of the way the housing developed, then a lot of family couldn't afford to be here. And so we have to still have a way to figure out how to continue to, how to bring folks together when it's important. And in particular, the message to folks who are living outside of Chinatown. Do you want to see Chinatown disappear? And even though you said that you only come in to eat or to shop, sometimes they don't even do that. But people do want to see this historical cultural district to be here. I don't think I have spoken to anyone that don't want that. How do we make that a reality? That is a protected district. You know, they didn't even change in the city zoning law until about 15, 20 years ago to recognize that Chinatown is not just a business district. It's also a residential. They didn't recognize that. West Bay Village, Beacon Hill, is a neighborhood. Therefore, the buildings and the people that are protected, but not Chinatown. So you have to ask the question, why? All this time? Because we're not a protected community. That's why they can run the highway through us. That's why they can move the combat zone from Scully Square, which is where City Hall is now, down to Lower Washington Street, right next to the community. They can keep doing things like that because they figure people are not going to rise up and oppose it. When we know better now, right? But we have to continue for that kind of education so more and more people can voice and say, enough is enough. No.